Good morning, people. This is your boy Jon Mann, aka the Nappy-Headed Assassin, aka I Am Manny's son, aka the world's worst football prognosticator, aka the Catman, and this is my weekly NFL pick show. The the Catman Picketh. This is week 5, people. Week 5, and last week I had a pretty rough week. My name held true. Last week I had a pretty rough week. Name held true. Um, Last week I went 9-7 with my picks, and I got bailed out late. I got bailed out late in some late games last week. Um, and just quickly show just go over last week picks where I was right and wrong real quick. Last week I had the games I had correct. I had Buffalo, Washington, Kansas City, Dallas, Green Bay, Baltimore, Tampa Bay, and the Chargers. Uh, it would look rough. The late games on last Sunday kind of bailed me out because the early games, I was horrendous. In the early games, I was 3-1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Um, 3 and I was 3, 4 and 5 in the early games. That wasn't good. That was not good. So the rest of the week, whatever the case may be, went horrible. I was wrong. I did it. I had Tennessee over the Jets. I was wrong. I had the Saints over the Giants. Wrong. Had the Vikings over Cleveland. I was wrong. Had Miami over the Colts. Obviously, that was wrong. Detroit over Chicago. I was wrong about that. Rams over the Cardinals. I was completely wrong about that. Full disclosure, Thursday, I had Thursday night game. I did have Seattle over the Rams. We know how that turned out. So I'm already 0-1 for the week. I did have the Falcons over the Jets. So we'll see. I don't know if it ended yet or we're in the closing stages, but I would found out the final score on that. As you can see at the bottom, that's my overall record for the season. For the season, I am 39-25, which is somewhat decent. I had a couple of decent weeks in a row, and then reality set in last week. So hopefully, I'll be better this week. Without further ado, as we go into this week's games and this week's picks, at the bottom, you can follow me. Those checking me out for the first time on Twitch or YouTube. You can follow me on all your favorite podcasts under the Catman Audibles, but also IG and Facebook. Catmandu Sports at CatManndo Sports, and Jon Mann Baby. Both of those also on Twitter. And also Jon Mann Baby on Twitch. Without further ado, we're going to run right into this week's games and my picks, the whole nine, so on and so forth. First game is the Carolina Panthers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Games being played in Carolina. Last week, Carolina lost to the Cowboys. The Eagles got ramshod by the Kansas City Chiefs. Sam Darnold looks good for the. Sam Darnold looked a whole lot better with the Panthers than he did with the Jets. I guess when you have competency around you and a team invested in your success, you can put up decent numbers. The Eagles' defense is horrible. Beyond horrible. Can't stop the run, can't tackle, can't do any of those things. Offense looked a tad bit better last week against Kansas City. People telling me that Kansas City has a horrible defense. That's why the Eagles look good. But I look at it like this: if you're in the NFL and the receiver check, they're playing against professional defenses. It's not like the Eagles were playing against Southwest Alabama Tech last week, and Hurts put up those somewhat decent numbers. Last time these two played was October 21st, 2018, where the Eagles blew a big lead and Carolina came back and won the game. Panthers are 3.5-point favorites. Over and under is 45 points. And my pick for this, and if those who do not know, I am a Philadelphia Eagle fan. I like to say that I see things objectively and not through an Eagles lens. But I believe the Eagles will win. Just a couple of things. The Christian McCaffrey is not playing, so that really helps the Eagles out just from a scheme standpoint. I think their defense is a little bit better than it shows. I think it's more of a scheming issue. Hopefully they get that straightened out. But I think the offense is taking big enough strides. They need to take that next step and become a more balanced offense to help out the young quarterback. So I have the Eagles beating Carolina. Next game, Saints and next game is the Saints and the Washington football team. Last week, Washington won. They beat the Atlanta Falcons 34-30. Saints last week lost to the Giants 27-21. Jameis Winston looks decent. He was my preseason pick as comeback player of the year. I don't know if that's going to hold true, but he's still playing well enough to lock down that QB1 position. Run through these games real quickly. Saints are a 2-point favorite. Over and under is 44.5 points. I mean, Saints are two point. Saints are 2 point underdog. I'm sorry. The Washington football team with Ron Rivera defense has not been looking as great as it should be. They haven't been. It's been inconsistent. There was talk that they would have a top 5 defense. That's not holding true. They got too many dogs on that side of the ball for that to be true, but they just haven't been consistent on the defensive standpoint. But Heineke, as quarterback, is very impressive, looking pretty good. Look like they have their QB1 for at least this season. Hopefully that he stays a little bit consistent and put more consistency in his game, and hopefully Washington secures him with a decent running game, passing attack. Terry McLaurin is one of the top, in my opinion, one of the top 3 wide receivers in the league. The kid is unstoppable. So on and so forth. But I have the Saints pulling off the upset on the road, beating Washington. I think that the Saints offense is starting to open up with Winston. The 2 quarterback thing that they did with Hill and Breeze is coming in fruition with Hill and Winston. And I think that Peyton is having an understanding of what type of quarterback he has in Winston and is starting to make those play calls because of that. And I think just the inconsistency of Washington defense will allow some openings for the Saints. Next game I want to talk about is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Miami Dolphins. And to be totally honest with you, there's really nothing much to say about this game. Tampa Bay are 10-point favorites. Um, if I was a betting man, I would actually take Miami to cover. Um, Tampa Bay haven't been looking sharp. They're 3-1, but it's a rough looking 3-1. Um, it's not one game this season that I saw Tampa Bay play, and you could say that they're headed back to the Super Bowl. Um, they were my preseason picks to go to the Super Bowl, so I still think they have enough to go, but they're not clicking on both sides of the ball. They're not clicking in all cylinders as a dominant team. They just find ways to win, and I guess that's a sign of a great team. The Dolphins um, just look flat out bad. They're not playing good ball. Quarterback is an issue. You got Brissett in there, career backup. Hopefully, they try to get him going with a balanced attack with a run game. Wide receivers, young wide receivers that they have, but Brissett just for whatever reason is just not reaching them. The run game is like non-existent, and I think they need to put that focus and balance that out and take some of that pressure off of Brissett. Now, with the Buccaneers, Chris Godwin is a beast. He is easily, in my opinion, the best wide receiver on the Tampa Bay Bucks. The way he goes in and out in his routes, he's smooth. I mean, Tampa Bay has so many weapons on offense; it's just ridiculous. Even though Gronk is not playing, they just got weapons all over the board. But for whatever reason, they should be putting up 45 points a game with all this stuff. But they're doing, they're hiding Brady well as far as some of Brady's deficiencies, as far as passing and moving him off of his spot. Brady's arm strength is not what it used to be. There's a lot of shorter passes than in the past, but his accuracy is still on point. But teams have been able to get to him this season, even though he hasn't been sacked a lot, but teams have been able to put constant pressure on him. So with that said, and without further ado, I think the Bucks in a very close game will beat Miami. I would take Miami and the points, but I don't do the Vegas thing because I will lose all of my money. And that's just that. Our next game is Pittsburgh and Denver. This is a very tough game for me to. This was a very tough game for me to pick because first of all, Pittsburgh is looking horrible. I have never seen a Mike Tomlin team look as bad as they do. I don't know if it's a Ben Roethlisberger thing, but they just look horrible on offense. And Denver surprisingly looks pretty decent. And Teddy Bridge H2O has been looking real good. It looks like Denver do have their quarterback for at least this season and possibly the next season. It's a shame that Bridgewater's not getting the respect that he deserves. But the Broncos are 3-1. Last week, the Steelers got beat down by Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. That game wasn't as close as the score indicated. The Broncos last week lost a tough one to Baltimore, and that had to do with possibly with Bridgewater going down. Bridgewater, like I stated, is playing strong at the quarterback position. Cortland Sutton out there picking up the slack, and they lost KJ Hamler. A few I think a game or two back. And the double running attack with Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon has been pushing, is paying dividends for Denver. The Steelers, um, they can't run the ball. You know, Najee Harris is being stopped. Johnson, they just look horrible offensively. But with all that said, the Steelers are a 1 point favorite at home, so that means that Vegas don't even believe in the Steelers. But I believe in the Steelers, and I believe the Steelers will beat Denver. Next game is Detroit and Minnesota. Minnesota coming in 1-3, Detroit 0-4. That's both. One team is looking like they're supposed to, another team is underachieving. Minnesota, I don't know what's going on with Minnesota last week. They just could not move the ball. They just couldn't do anything. They looked horrible on offense. They lost to Cleveland 14-7. I'm not really a big Kirk Cousins fan, but I think Minnesota needs to make that move to get somebody more dynamic, so to speak. Dalvin Cook, been nicked up this season, but he's still a top back. Justin Jefferson is looking pretty decent as well. So just they look it just doesn't seem like it's clicking. It's like everything is just falling apart for Minnesota. As far as Detroit, the Jared Goff experiment, he looks the same as he did out in LA, nothing special. He looks like he will be a backup sometime soon. I believe that Detroit will probably be looking for their next quarterback in the next draft. Last week, Detroit, I don't even know how they lost this game. They had a winnable game against Chicago against a young quarterback that just wasn't looking great, and they made the young quarterback look decent. Dan Campbell has got to be on his last leg out in Detroit. But with that said, I have, excuse me, with that said, I have who do I have? Oh, I have Minnesota beating Detroit. Minnesota is a 9 point favorite. I would take Detroit to cover. That 9 points is very high because Minnesota doesn't look that good at all. Next game, sorry, next game after Minnesota and Detroit, um, it's Tennessee and Jacksonville. We're gonna call this a urban. This might be the final days for Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer doing what he do. We're not going to rehash his time up in Ohio and the infamous faux lap dance at his restaurant. Um, he has other things to deal with. Tennessee. Um, I don't know what to say about Tennessee. Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill is Ryan Tannehill, and Tennessee should be the best team, in my opinion, in the AFC South, but they're not looking like the best team. Jacksonville, I don't know when they will win a game. To be totally honest with you, everything is a cluster out in Jacksonville. They got a good young quarterback, but when your head is screwy, the body follows, and that's just not a good look in Jacksonville. Jacksonville last game they had a heartbreaking loss against the Cincinnati Bengals. They had that game won. They let Cincinnati come back, beat them at the end. I guess that would drive me to go drink and party afterwards and not go home either if I was Urban Meyer after a loss like that. Tennessee's last game, um, an inexcusable loss to the Jets. There was no way they should have. First of all, that game should have never been that close. But when you kick field goals, when you kick nothing but field goals, it doesn't make a difference who you're playing against. You're still playing against professionals on the other side. It'll come back and bite you. Believe it or not, the Titans are only a 4-point favorite on the road. I thought it would be higher than that. I think it's going to be a blowout. Tennessee travels well. So I believe that Tennessee will beat the brakes off of Jacksonville. I don't think Urban Meyer is going to make it past this year if he finishes out the year. And I think this is going to be the game, the beginning of the end as far as his demise is concerned, because I think it's going to be ugly. Next game, New England and Houston. Oh, man, Houston. We're not even going to talk about their quarterback situation, but I feel sorry for David Culley because I know David Culley didn't sign up for this, but he wanted this might be his only chance to be a head coach, and it's unfortunate that he had to be in the situation that he is in. It's not a good look. It's just horrible all the way across the board. Quarter black. Freudian slip quarterback situation is just beyond pathetic. The young kid Davis Mills is in a tough situation. It's just bad all the way around. Down in Houston. New England. I think they're better than their 1-3 record shows. Mac Jones showing promise. They need to run the ball. Damian Harris is a pretty decent back. Get that going. Their defense looked really good. Last week, New England played in the Brady Bowl. They played the Buccaneers tough, but Brady did what he did and what he do at the end. And Belichick got to see it firsthand from the other side. And unfortunately, they lost to the tough one. Houston, my goodness, we're not even going to talk about that game against Buffalo. Buffalo beat them like they were in Southwest Alabama Tech, and they was trying to move up and impress their ratings in that BCS. That's how bad. Yes, we're going old school with the BCS. That's how bad it was. New England are 9-point favorites. All right. 9. I don't even know how to get these spreads 9-point favorites. I believe that New England's actually going to cover. So I have New England over. I have New England over the Houston Texans. Next game that we'll be talking about is Green Bay and Cincinnati. 2-3-1 teams. Two teams are looking decent. We'll start off with the visiting team, the Green Bay Packers. After game one, after the loss of the Saints, Aaron Rodgers broke down and told y'all to relax. And, the overreaction was real. And the Packers are righting that ship. Aaron Rodgers still showing and still looking like he's one of the top 3, top 5 quarterbacks in the league, if not the best quarterback in the league. I know people will still will mention Mahomes, and people will mention Kyler Murray. They both are playing outstanding. But so is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers over the last couple of weeks is looking exactly what Aaron Rodgers is doing. Aaron Jones touching the ball a little bit. Devontae Adams still is Devontae Adams. So they're looking pretty decent. They're looking pretty decent all over across the board. Now Cincinnati, Joe Burrow's it's stepping up. He's picking off where he left off last year. He had a little slow start in the season. Now he's starting to round out and form of those weapons that he has in Cincinnati. It's just not fair. Jamar Chase looks like the real deal. I thought that Jamar Chase was the best wide receiver coming into the draft. I had him as my number one wide receiver with Devontae Smith, number two. The running attack with Joe Mixon. I mean, Cincinnati's just loaded on offense. Last week, Cincinnati. Their last game, we talked about it earlier. They beat Jacksonville, Green Bay, coming off. We talked briefly about it. Coming off that win against Pittsburgh. Green Bay are 3-point favorites on the road, and I am going with that. I'm taking Green Bay over Cincinnati. Late games, Cleveland and the Chargers. Both teams 3-1. Another good game. Both teams are looking pretty decent. I don't know what to say about Baker Mayfield. He is more successful than his commercials will show. But we're gonna run through these last couple of games real quick. Cleveland coming off a win over Minnesota, which I mentioned previously, and the Chargers coming off that win over the Raiders. Cleveland is the Chargers are 1.5-point favorite. And I have the Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to win more than one. I think Chargers by a touchdown over Cleveland. That kid Herbert is definitely the real deal, and Williams and Eckler, that offense is just will be too much for Cleveland. Next game, Chicago and the Raiders. Chicago is a surprising 2-2. I don't know how to do it. Matt Nagy is the Wayne Fonts of the Chicago Bears. It's just how he still has his job, I don't know. And, that's not for me to say. I'm not a Chicago Bear fan, but he did decide to go with the young kid, Justin Fields, as a starter. That's probably self-preservation more than anything else. There's no need for Andy Dalton to be starting any more games for Chicago unless there's something drastic. Raiders 3-1, Chicago 2-2. Last game, Raiders lost to the Chargers. Just mentioned that. And the Bears last game, they beat Detroit. I mentioned that earlier. Raiders are 5.5-point favorites. And you know something, I am going to agree with that. Dallas and the New York Giants. Dallas, real quick, easily the best team in the NFC East. It hurts me as a diehard Philadelphia Eagle fan. Giants, I think, is the worst team in the NFC East. But the Giants always play tough in Dallas. That's one place that the Giants do play well. I do believe that the Giants are going to look good in Dallas today. I believe that it's going to be a very, very close game. With that said, I believe the Cowboys are going to win. Cowboys are a 7-point favorite. I'm definitely taking the Giants to cover. Even though as explosive Dallas is, the Giants got a few weapons of their own, and the Dallas defense give up a lot of yards, but they play tough and turn the ball over. Get this going. San Fran and Arizona. San Fran, Arizona. Another 4:00 game. Arizona's 4-0. San Fran 2-2. Cardinals 5.5-point favorites. Kyler Murray is looking like an MVP candidate. Arizona's defense is looking pretty good. San Fran playing a young kid. I think they're done. I don't think this game is going to be close. I think Arizona's going to win by double digits, so to speak, and to go to 5-0. Excuse me, go to 5-0. Buffalo and Kansas City tonight. Buffalo is 3-1. Kansas City is 2-2. Josh Allen looked a little rough earlier in the season. Got out the gate a little slow. First couple of games started round back in form, and started to play a little bit better. He had the last couple of games. The weapons that he has is just pretty decent, but nobody has weapons like Kansas City, and they got Josh Gordon. I don't even know what that means that they got Josh Gordon. But Andy Reid does well with reclamation projects, so that's a great thing for those concerned. Kansas City, I spoke earlier, beat last week, beat the Eagles. They blew out the Eagles. The Bills blew out Houston. Kansas City 3-point favorite. Got a pretty decent defense. I like their offense. But I'm going with Kansas City. And even though it's so quote unquote a revenge match from last year's playoff game, Kansas City just got too many weapons. Buffalo will play on tight in the first half, but it's just their Kansas City's running game. They got that kid running the ball pretty decently well now. And last couple of games, he looked on track. So Edwards-Helaire, I'm speaking about. So if that Andy Reid offense, for someone who doesn't like to run the ball, runs the ball the way he does, and get that running game going, they're pretty much unstoppable. So that's I have Kansas City beating Buffalo. Monday night, Baltimore, Indianapolis. Ravens are 7-point favorites. I don't even think it's going to be close. Lamar is doing what Lamar does. He needs weapons. Carson Wentz is doing what he does. There's a little hope of a turnaround as far as he's concerned and the Colts are concerned. But I don't believe that this game will be close. I think Baltimore will win this game by at least double digits. It is now time for kickoff. I'm glad that y'all watched and paid attention, whatever the case may be. Real quickly, my picks. Checking in the last 5 seconds. I had Eagles, Saints, Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Tennessee, New England, Green Bay, Chargers, Raiders, Cowboys, Cardinals, Kansas City, and on Monday night, Baltimore. Enjoyed today's games. This week, I keep saying this, but I'm trying to get things going, getting everything in my studio the way it needs to be, and all these things going. This week I will have Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm going to have a little bit more content, a little bit more breakdowns of these past games. After I watch some film, get that going, and hope y'all enjoyed. This is Jon Mann. Like I said, follow me on Instagram. For those who's watching me on Twitch and YouTube, follow me on Instagram at JONMANNBABY and CATMANNDO Sports. All social media. Thank you. I'm out. Enjoy today's games.